Hi, welcome back to West Coast Geeks. I'm your host, Joaquin. How we doing, people? Today's video is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual Part 11, the letter M. You know I can't do this alone.
What's up, guys? It's Eric.
Up indeed. Okay, people. For those of you who have been following us all along, very much. And for all you newcomers out there, this is going to be an in-depth review and reading. So Eric's going to read the descriptions, and some of them we're going to pass over because a lot of those, I don't want to say this. I used to say rules, but some of the descriptions of things just don't really apply to D&D anymore. And we're going to get into that because the men have a big section of what we're going to be skipping over a lot, but we're going to be talking about how you should probably bring that back. Okay, so you now know this is going to be a long video, and by long, the videos average an hour. So get some snacks, get some food, get your paints ready, start painting some figures. You're into 40K or Warhammer. This is a good video to be watching and listening while you're doing. Hey, leaving work, put in the video, dude. Good way to pass
At
the
work,
time.
put it in.
Yeah, at work too. All the
Put your
security guards
headphones
out there.
on.
Do something, man.
Cheer your buds.
But watch the whole video. And I also put on there what do the thumbnail, what do these monsters have in common? Which is, I believe it was the Minotaur, the Mimic, and the Mind Flayer. So you're gonna have to watch the video to find out because I'm not dropping that at the very beginning. And you guys bounce. Ain't happening. Okay. The Manticore, Death from Above, and what is a masher? So
Sure.
we're gonna find out what a masher is once Eric gets there. But
All right.
here we go. Letter M. First up.
All right. We're starting off with the mammoth. Now, looking over, we don't usually go over the stats or anything like that, but I'm looking. This guy has 5 attacks.
Yes.
5 attacks: 3 to 18, 3 to 18, 2 to 16, 2 to 12, 2 to 12. That is disgusting.
That really
That is
is.
hardcore, dude. That's a lot of damage.
Okay, so I see. Okay, so he's got his front two.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 2.
You probably
Got
got
his
like his
tusk.
tusk.
That's 3. And then he bites you. That's 4.
Well, I think maybe like the 3 to 18 are the tusks.
Yeah.
The 2 to 16 maybe his trunk, and then he hits you with his feet. I don't know. Let's see what they say. There are several varieties of mammoth, including the woolly and imperial, the latter sort being the largest. They inhabit climes ranging from subarctic to subtropical of the Pleistocene epoch. These massive herbivores are quite aggressive if threatened. As with elephants and mastodons, the mammoths have 5 attack forms, but in general can apply no more than 2 versus a single opponent. All right. So he's not messing up one dude with all 5 attacks, but seriously.
He can.
Yeah, he can. Generally does not mean that he won't.
Yeah. Especially if Joaquin's your DM.
Right? The Joaquin will give him a tail attack and knock you off your Chiron mount. How about that?
Yep. If you guys did not watch our last video on K, you are missing
I'm not letting
out.
that die.
You are missing out.
Chiron at level 9. Oh my goodness! All
right,
right,
we're gonna keep this short for Dallas comes in and starts yelling at you.
We're gonna get yelled at if we have another video go that long. The tusks of the mammoth are 50% heavier than those of the elephant, and their value is proportionately higher. That's the mammoth. They'll mess you up. On to the manticore.
Yep.
Manticores prefer dismal lairs, so they are typically found in caves or underground. They range in all climes, although they enjoy warm places more than cold. The favorite prey of manticores is man. Maybe that's why it's in the name. And they are usually encountered outside their lairs, hunting for human victims. Manticore attacks first by loosing a volley of 6 of its iron tail spikes. What? What?
I know.
18-foot range as a light crossbow, D6 hit points per damage per hit. It can fire 4 such volleys. Man, yeah, that's mean, dude. The coloration of the manticore is that of its various parts: lion colored body, bat brown wings, human flesh head. All
All
right,
right.
and on to
Wait,
the mystery.
wait,
Oh,
wait,
sorry.
wait. We gotta
Wait.
talk about the Manicore again.
All right,
Move
yeah, that's
on
right.
from an
I'm sorry, I was on a
iconic
roll.
D&D monster. First up, if you want to know why Eric's wife Dallas is relevant, you gotta watch. You gotta watch the letter L, people. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. Because if you don't laugh during that video, then I guess you didn't find it funny. All right, but
Right?
on
Yep.
to the Manicore. So, the Manicore makes its first appearance in G1, Steading of the Hill Giant Chief.
Mm-hmm.
It also appears in another like must play um first edition module called S2, White Plume Mountain.
Oh, White Plume Mountain.
They appear in there. These are really good creatures to harass your party with. They they roam like deserts or near deserts, like mountain terrain. Can also find them in pretty much anywhere, but like snow. You probably wouldn't find them there, and most likely you wouldn't see them in swamp. But I always throw them in there. I mean, they're pretty versatile creatures, and they just look
Yeah.
cool. I mean, the artwork that every time that they've done the artwork for the Manicore, they usually look pretty good. Like I really enjoy these. Do you have any Manicore stories before we move on?
I think I ran them in my first one of my first adventures. I'm trying to think. Oh no, I think I added some in. It was a module I was running. That's what it was. But yeah, they had a pair of manicores in a room, and there was this massive room, and they kept flying around. The group was like, ah, couldn't get away from them. They almost got them,
Yeah,
but not anything too
they're
terribly impressive.
yeah, they're fun creatures. All right, so the mystery creature. What is a masher?
Masher. Every time I hear Masher, I think of the cartoons like Bugs Bunny when he smacks somebody, be like
I'm
Masher,
thinking of like like those mosh pits and stuff.
right?
Oh yeah, masher.
Masher.
All right,
All
what
right,
is
let's see
it?
what they say the Masher is. These worm-like fish move slowly along coral reefs, crushing and eating the coral growth. If surprised or threatened, they are prone to attack in quote self-defense end quote. Mashers have a number of dorsal spines 4 feet long with poisonous secretions. An individual will have four, six, or eight. Unless fought from directly ahead or underneath, the masher is able to jut these spines so as to prevent attack or be stuck with a spine. Say what? What? Save versus poison or be killed. No
That's
damage.
another one.
You die.
Look,
What?
but look at his attack. One, you're like, okay, 5 to 20. Number of appearing 2 to 8.
Holy crap.
I did not know about the save versus
And
poison
he's
or
eight hit
die.
dice. Save or die.
Yeah.
Wow. That is crazy.
That is, but see, that's why they throw in there. Let's surprise or threaten. They won't attack the party. So if the
Yeah.
party goes out of their way to mess with them or sneak up on one, not knowing any better, they should be okay.
I like how they say, well, and it will attack in quote self defense end quote. Save or die,
That for
son.
me, that would be like, you entered the water. They were threatened. But they
Yeah.
were
You,
like
s-
half a mile away. They didn't like you
you
entering the
walked along
water.
the shore. Man, Masher. Those guys are
Yeah, man.
crazy.
Well, I know what they are now, and I want to add them into 5e. Is what I want to do.
Man.
What's the poison save, or you lose 3/4 of your health? I think that's fair.
No, you die. You gotta keep it.
No,
You gotta
no,
keep it
these new
real.
players would lose their mind over
We ain't new
die.
players. I just ain't going in the water. How about that?
Uh,
Man.
or at
All
least
right.
lose a con something. I don't know. You have to
Something.
tweak it, but have fun. All right.
All right, we got the mammoth's other cousin, the mastodon. Mastodons dwell in nearly any climate, from near Arctic to tropical. These huge herbivores are distantly related to elephants, but their body is somewhat lower and longer. They're common on Pleistocene plains. Although the mastodon has 5 attack modes, 2 tusks, 1 trunk, 2 forefeet, it cannot employ more than 2 of them at a time against a single opponent. For details of attack limitations, and other data, see elephant. Their tusks are the same weight and value as those of elephants. So
Yeah,
I
didn't
guess,
remember that. We read that earlier about the tusk being worth some money
yeah,
when we were talking about
yeah. Wait,
Medusa
yeah, that
and
was
men. Greek mythology
oh,
is the tragic origin of Medusa. So by now, unless you're living under a rock, most people who are into fantasy genre would know or have heard about Medusa. She was a high priestess of Athena, and the the origin is that was it? I think it was Ares or Hades cover your ears, children, had
eh,
sex with the high priestess in Athena's temple. Medusa was, I guess, I believe the name of the woman was supposed to be very beautiful. So, Athena is a very prideful and jealous god, and instead of going after her brother, um, I think her brother would have been Ares, and
yeah,
Hades
I
is
thought it
her
was Aries.
uncle. Yeah,
Aries was a dick.
yeah, and Hades would be her uncle. So she can't go
Mhm.
after her uncle, but she can deal with her brother. So if you've read any of the non-children fiction Greek mythology,
Mhm.
where they sugarcoat everything, but if you read the Greek mythology, there's a lot of like gods raping people, seducing, and this is a rape story. I mean, that's what it comes.
Yeah.
It is borderline there. Like they
Oh, look at
kind of,
Zeus.
depending on where you're reading, it implies it leans one way or another. But either way, what does Athena do? Does she go? Who does she punish? She punishes Medusa, and
Yeah.
because Medusa was so good looking, maybe her name wasn't Medusa, but either way, I can't remember it offhand. She turns her into this hideous creature that you see before you in the picture. And from that, you know, um, everybody by now have seen Clash of the Titans. See what happens to her.
Not the
Well,
remake.
not the remake. The remake was like barely okay.
No, that thing was stupid.
Barely. Well, I liked it because the Kraken looked a lot better, and the
Oh yeah,
CGI on a lot of stuff. But all right,
they ain't no Harry Hamlin. That's all.
yeah, exactly. So, before we talk even further about Medusas, Eric, what is the monster manual's
All right, Medusa, Medusae, are hateful humanoid creatures which dwell in dark caves or caverns, venturing forth on occasion to seek prey. They try to beguile humans to look into their eyes. The gaze of a Medusa's eyes will turn creatures within 30 feet to stone unless they make their saving throw versus petrification. If an opponent averts his eyes, the Medusa rushes up so that its asp like head growth can bite at the victim. What? The range of such attack is but 5 feet. They do their range is all screwy in this.
Yeah.
And the victim bitten must save versus poison or die. Again, poison or die.
Or die.
This is probably why everybody's got resistance to poison nowadays.
I think
'Cause back
so.
in the day, they weren't messing around.
Nope.
If the Medusa's gaze is reflected back, the creature will turn itself into stone! Exclamation point. Medusas speak both their tongue and the common tongue. Medusa are able to see astral and ethereal creatures, and their petrifying gaze is as effective on those planes as it is on the material. So if you are in the astral plane looking into the material plane and she sees you and you see her, she's gonna turn your ass.
Yeah, he turned to
Come on.
stone.
Yeah, there's no escaping here. Description: the body of a Medusa appears quite shapely and human. They typically wear human clothing. However, the face is a horrid visage and its snaky hair writhes. So, at a close distance, within 20 feet, this gives the creature away. The glaring red rimmed eyes of Medusa are visible clearly at 30 feet.
Yeah, so
So 30 feet, folks.
yeah, so this creature has obviously, if you played Fist, has evolved. Some of them have been more snake-like, and but this was a really deadly encounter. And you know where this deadly encounter was placed in?
The what?
This deadly encounter was placed in with the Medusa. B2,
Mm,
keep on the borderland.
was it? Mm,
Yes.
I did not know that.
No, yeah, I know. Like it's just one of those things where, like, surprise, on top of everything else that you have to deal with. They really
Right?
did pack
Like,
that
oh, we're gonna
module.
throw this in there too.
I I mean, it does fit with the flavor of what was going on with the caves and all, but yeah, these are really deadly encounters, and regardless of what level you are. Fail
Mhm.
that save, you fail that save.
Yeah.
Okay, so I told Eric to cherry pick, and we will highlight some of the descriptions of men.
All right. Let's see. Going on to men. Normal men have D6 hit points each. There are many types of men, which commonly encountered in the wilderness or in dungeons, always appearing in groups. Smaller bands underground, larger outdoors is a good general rule. Each type will be detailed separately hereunder. Note that there will always be higher level characters with any group of men encountered, the exact number being given under each separate heading. So basically, they go on to say that the more men you encounter, they are chances of you get higher level fighters, magic users, and clerics. There's a certain percentage chance as you go along. They give a little.
Yeah, they give a
There's
magical item chart there.
Yeah, they give a little item chart and
And the last part is high level leader types will have full chance of psychic abilities.
oh psionics.
Psionics, that's right. Psionic
Oh, they
abilities.
even have possible items for magic items and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, oh, okay,
All right.
let's move on to the brigands, also known as bandit.
And its roam every climb from temperate to subtropical. They travel in groups, generally led by high level fighters, magic users, and clerics. Those encountered in dungeons will be far fewer in number and often cooperating with thieves. For every 20 bandits, there will be an additional third level fighter. Every 30, there's an additional fourth leveler, so on and so forth. They're always led by a fighter of levels 8 through 10 with
That's
6 level 2 guards. Yeah, so
pretty
they have
high when you think about it.
that
When
is, dude,
you're
level
just
10.
making a random group that they run across. Jeez.
Yeah, that's crazy. For every 50 bandits, there's a 25% they'll have a mage of 7th through 10th level. Interesting. For every 50 bandits, there's a 15% chance that they'll have a cleric of 5th or 6th level, with another assistant of 3rd or 4th level. Bandit lairs are usually informal camps, and then they give below that a armor and arms and different kind of mounts that they'll have
Yeah.
percentage wise.
So they give pretty good breakdowns about, like bottom here is like terrains with various percentage or mounted bandits and hillies
Hmm.
and mountains. So they really help the DMs like flesh out these groups so they don't have to do the work of like, well, if I have a group of bandits, like who's leading them or whatever. So the charts are really helpful. All
All
right,
right.
let's move on to the next group of men. The last tribe of men, berserkers and cavemen.
Yeah.
So tell us about
Like
berserkers.
berserkers apparently don't wear shoes because this guy's just like, I don't care. He's got my big foot out here. He's like a hobbit with his funky knee. All
That is
right,
a
berserkers.
funky knee.
That's a gnarly looking knee, man.
Wow.
All right, berserkers are bands of fighters who gather together to go out and seek battle. They scorn armor and enrage in combat. They scorn armor and engage in combat mad with battle lust. This lust enables them to strike twice or once with a +2 to hit. For every 10 berserkers encountered, there will be a first level fighter in addition. For every 20, there'll be a second level, so on and so forth. Berserkers will be led by a war chief of ninth or 10th level. Interesting. For every 10 berserkers, there's a 50% chance that there's a berserker cleric. Berserker cleric, come on, man. How's he supposed to be casting spells if he's mad with battle lust? Berserkers never check morale. If they decide that a fight would bring them honor and possibly loot, they will attack. All right, what do we got next? The buccaneer or pirate. Pirate. Buccaneers are found in the oceans, seas, large lakes, and broad rivers of the world. Their armor depends on where they are located. Usually, the encounter will be in the buccaneer's lair, which is their vessel. Only 20% of the time, they will be encountered off their ship along some coast or shore. Again, they give a range for every 50 buccaneers, there'll be a third level fighter. Wow, they only get a third level fighter. For
Oh.
every 100, they get a fifth level fighter. So buccaneers are pretty shitty, basically, is what they're saying. They like, yeah, they either that or they just die in droves and they don't get very high level,
I think that might be more the case.
right? They will have 2 to 5 prisoners in their lair, these unfortunates being held for ransom. Buccaneers will always be led by a captain of 8th or 10th level.
There you go.
8th level if it's fewer than 200 buccaneers. Jeez. Every
That's
50
a lot of
buccaneers is a,
ships when you think about it, because the
yeah,
average
that's a lot.
ship held like anywhere probably between what 30, 40, maybe 50 crew at max, like if you were like hardcore. But I want to say a crew was like 30, 35, 40 men on average.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
they're saying, that's like 8 ships almost. No, 9 ships.
well, it depends on how big the ships are.
Yeah. I mean, but still, that's like 5, 6 ships at least.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm cutting out. Hold on, hold on. All right.
yeah,
Now, does that sound better?
yeah. That sounds much better.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, I was a little worried. I'm like, maybe it's just me. Maybe my hearing's
No, no,
going.
no, 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 just make sure I
All
got my
right,
phone. All right.
all right. Going on to the cavemen.
Yep.
Cavemen are primitive, very fierce humans found in areas which are otherwise uninhabited by humans. Again, they break it down. Let's see. We got 10 cavemen. There'll be a third level fighter. We'll have what? Cavemen will always be led by a fifth level fighter. I guess if they have more, they have just the fifth level, and that's it. 10% chance of a cleric to lead them. They always lair in caves and caverns. There will be female and young equal to 100%, 50% respectively, all that stuff. They give a little thing of treasure. They have a bunch of tusks, pelts, golden nuggets. I don't know how they got those. They probably mine like the kobolds do.
Yep.
Uncut gems. So yeah, that's interesting that they give a little treasure
Well,
notes on
you got
there.
to figure that they find the stuff in the rivers and stuff, or it's just
Yeah.
shipped off the cave that they live in. They like the shinies, I guess.
hmm Stone axes treated as battle axes, clubs as morning stars. Due to their strength, cavemen add +1 to damage rolls. They tend to be frightened by the unknown, so subtract 1 from reaction die in such morale checks. Ooh, they're like, no,
What's that?
what is that? Like, what is that? That island? I forget that island.
Oh yeah, that we have. There's this
Use with an
island that
S.
we
I
are not
forget.
allowed, that no one is allowed to
Yeah,
visit.
it's not Senegal. Where is it?
I
That
want
makes
to
me
say
mad. I
it's,
was just reading about it.
yeah.
But yeah, they're like literally not allowed. The last guy that went there was
I
some
thought it was close by Australia or in that region.
yeah, maybe somewhere around there. I thought it was off the island of I don't know. I have to check that out now. It's bugging me.
Oh, do that
All
after
right.
the
Right.
video.
Not gonna do it now.
Yep. All right.
All right,
So,
so that's cavemen. Now we're gonna go to the dervish.
wait, before we do that, real quick. So, um, I think the cavemen here are a good example for new DMs who want to maybe have your player characters land on this island, and this island doesn't is lacking like no towns, no cities, and it is stuck in this primitive time. And
Yeah,
so
like
you could,
land before time.
yeah, so you can, cutting out again, really?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
you
it
hear me
started cutting
now?
out again. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All
It
right.
just sometimes when it goes on, you start cutting out.
Okay.
Weird.
That's weird.
Technical difficulties.
Um, so you could use these stats to help you build and create your own little fantasy island, and not the one
Right?
where you have the boss and
You
um
have the plane, the
the
plane.
plane Ricardo Montalban.
You
This-
right?
All right,
Ricardo Montalban and tattoo.
the tattoo. Yeah, forget tattoo. All right. So Delvish, the desert nomad, looking for some ideas for desert campaigns. Add some nomads.
Right?
So go ahead and
Right?
read the
We got the
Delvish description.
dervish.
The
Dervish are
dervish. Oh my bad.
highly Dervish are highly religious nomads. They are encountered only in desert or steppes, plains areas. Again, breaks it down for every 30 dervish, there will be a third level fighter. For every 40, a fourth level, so on and so forth. Dervishes will be led by a cleric of 10th level to 12th level. Interesting. Every 50 dervishes, there's a 15% chance there'll be a magic user of 7th or 8th level. If more than 200 dervishes are encountered, the magic users will be of the higher level possible. Dervish will have a walled fortress as a lair. There will be 200 to 300 dervish there. Jesus. The fortress will contain 1 to 4 ballista and light catapults and 1 to 2 heavy catapults as defense. They ain't messing around.
Oh,
These guys have medium war horses, chains. So we're talking about like Saladin here. These guys ain't
yeah.
messing around. Yeah, due to their fanatical nature, dervishes add +1 to their hit probability and damage die. They never check morale in combat. Their leaders wear chainmail, and so magic armor is indicated. It will be of that variety. Dervish leaders have normal chances for possession of psionic abilities. Nomads are bounds of desert. What's that? Nomads are bands of desert or steppes plains dwellers who roam freely about herding and hunting. So these are just like farmers and villages. Yeah, they don't have any. Oh, but they do have the. They're in with the war horse and the chainmail as well. You mess around with them, you're gonna get it.
Well, it seems.
Nomads will tip.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, just ended. The nomads will typically withdraw from a force which inflicts over 25% casualties upon them if the enemy appears to be able to continue stout resistance. Nomads will also feign retreat in order to lure an enemy into an ambush. They are 75% likely to capture weaker groups, but they are 90% likely to parlay with parties of near or equal strength.
So
All right.
the dervish, they're more like, they have their little fortress, and they will go out and scout and trade and do whatever. But the nomads are the ones that you're going to be finding at the oases or the traveling merchants.
Yeah,
Um,
just chilling.
yeah, and if you want to add more flavor tech, replace the horses with camels. But yeah, there's some interesting ideas you can do with these.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
it's good. That's what's good about going through some of these old books. Even if you're running 5e, you get some good ideas in there. All right, what
Right.
are we on to? The merchant.
And pilgrims should be treated
Oh,
differently in how they will treat the party. We're going to get into that after you read the merchant.
yeah, they better not be chopping down your sacred groves.
Oop.
Merchants are, as the name implies, traders in goods and the like merchandise. These traders travel in caravans, pack animals and or wagons from city to city in order to do business. So they are found nearly anywhere, everywhere, I should say. Only 10% of any band merchants will actually be tradesmen, 10% will be drovers. The balance, which is 80% of the party, will be mercenary guards. Wow. So most of the ones you come across are going to be guards.
Yep.
Guards will be led by a fighter of 6th to 11th level, depending on how many merchants you have. Yeah, these mercenary guarding a caravan, they will be well armored and mounted. Heavy war horse, plate armor, shield, lance, and sword. They are not screwing around. Wow, yeah, that's hardcore. That medium war horse chainmail. Yeah, these guys are good, man.
Yeah, so
Plate mail, shield, lance.
yeah, I mean, it depends on what. Really, I would look at that and be okay. So, what are they escorting? Are they
Yeah, well,
escorting
this
a
is what they show.
rare commodity, or I'm not talking like gold bars or anything like that, but is it like rare spices, like salt? Are they
Well, that's
rare
what they give down
silk?
here. Caravan of they have that stuff down here, like treasure codes.
Yeah,
Caravan of merchants will have various sorts of treasure
yeah, because they have to,
individually.
because they're going to be
Yeah,
selling and buying
yep.
constantly. So, yeah, I
Pay
mean,
chests containing 2 to 4,000 gold, 100 to 400 platinum. Jesus, merchandise will range from 10,000 to 60,000 gold pieces.
which is why they give the number of appearance up to three.
Yeah,
So if it's
we're
something,
trying to
if it's
find
a
that.
lot, something really valuable, you're going to be putting them up at like 150 to 300 range.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Whew, they're carrying a lot of stuff.
Yep. Now, learn about the pilgrims, and this is
Pilgrims.
how they will react to the party.
Hmm. Pilgrims are simply groups of individuals on their way to visit someplace which is holy or unholy to them. They are thus found nearly everywhere. Group of pilgrims will always have the following additional characters, and they talk about depending on your levels or how many encountered, there are different level clerics. There's a 25% chance that a fifth or sixth level monk will be with the party. Interesting. For every 10 pilgrims, there's a 10% chance that there will be D10 fighters of first through eighth level. So there's all kinds of people hanging out in it's a pilgrim party. If the party is chaotic good, the fighters will be rangers. If the party is neutral, the clerics will be druids. If the pilgrims are lawful evil, all of the pilgrims will fight as berserkers, although they will be armed only with daggers. If the party is chaotic evil, the thieves will be assassins of the level indicated. And then they break it down to pilgrim alignment, which is lawful good 35% of the time, chaotic good 20, neutral 10, chaotic evil 15%, and lawful evil 20%. Interesting.
Better to deal with awful evil, chaotic evil.
Hmm. All above average characters have normal chances for possession of psionic abilities. Pilgrims are 75% likely to be afoot, 25% probability of being mounted. All will be either one or the other. Pilgrims and monks will carry different. Oh, now they have different types of treasure too. I won't go through all the treasure types because we have no way of knowing. Yeah, there's a 5% chance that at some high level member of the band of pilgrims, they are carrying a religious artifact. Ooh, any such artifact will be carefully hidden and well guarded by traps and or magical devices.
Yep. So they
There
actually
you go.
they do give in the appendix the treasure types,
I'll do
and
that. Okay.
yeah, they have an appendix and they give magical item. But so when you're dealing with some merchants, the moment the party gets close to a merchant group, everybody, all the guards are going to be on alert. There's
Yeah.
no sneaking
They don't
up
know
and
you.
shenanigans or whatever. And the odds are they're just going to keep moving, and they're not stopping for the characters. Characters try to get in their way or halt them. They're just going to assume there's some kind of trick, try to kill them.
Yeah.
Um, and the merchant group will most likely not allow you to be staying close to them or following them. They'll just look at that as like suspicious behavior. It's one thing if you're walking and then they catch up to you and stay at your pace or eventually pass you or whatever. It's another thing is you're walking past them and all of a sudden you turn around and start following. It's like, hey, where you going? What? Why? Why? So you might be
Yeah. Why
greeted
are
with
you
some.
following us?
Yeah, you might be greeted with some crossbow bolts, and that should be the end of that.
Right?
Pilgrims give you more chances as a DM to interact with the player characters, tell them where they're from, what they've seen on their travels. You can have
Hmm.
them being really friendly. You could, if they're evil, they might just act like they're good and friendly, and
right?
then be like, "Why
Try
don't
and
you
try
break
and have
camp
you
with
join their
us?
little band,
Yeah, why don't you break camp with us?" And then get mugged
and
or
they'll tie you
killed.
up and take your treasures.
Yeah. So those are like two different ways to deal with those merchant groups. Um,
Yep,
the
merchants
whole
of Pilgrim.
category of men is just really interesting. I've always enjoyed looking at those charts because they really do
Yeah,
help out a lot of young D. For those of
yeah, they do.
you, um, you can pull up the Monster Manual PDF. I did that to include this. Still cutting out. What the heck?
Yeah, big time. Is there a way to pause it?
All right, hold on. I'm gonna pause this. On.
We sh- we shall return.
All right, testing 1, 2, 3. How do I
Test, test.
sound?
I'm good so far.
All right, so we're gonna try to wrap this up, people. We are getting close to the end, and apologize for all the choppiness of my voice. So let's move on.
All right, we're going next to the merman.
Merman, mimic, and mind flayers. Mimic, be
Oh,
careful
mimics.
what you open when you open a chest. And mind flayers are the scourge of the universe, and you're gonna find out a little bit
Right?
why when we talk about them.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start off with the merman.
All right, we've got mermen. They're found in seas and oceans in the warm, temperate, and tropical areas. They range over areas harvesting the vegetation and hunting the fish the seas provide. Additionally, mermen actually herd certain fishes. Interesting. They venture out of water only to sun themselves or visit some coastal spot. So they like to hang out in the sun, get a little tan. Mermen have regular undersea communities, generally a reef or cliff, honeycombed with passages and rooms. Only 10% of the time will they actually construct a village of shells, rocks, and corals. This community will have areas where the mer women and their young live netted pen. Whoa, what? Areas where mer women and their young live, netted pens where food fishes are kept, workshops, and so on. These communities will be guarded from 3 to 18 of the larger sized barracuda. Wow.
Barracuda.
Dun, 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 dun,
So, you
dun,
know that song.
dun. For mermen have learned to tame and use these fish. All right. They use, typical trident, dagger, crossbows. Look at that.
Yep.
Nets, javelins, all that kind of stuff. On occasion, mermen will attack surface vessels. To do so, they must surface and grapple it. So grapple, I'm assuming they mean the ship. They are very accurate with these hooks and are 90% likely to hit. 10 mermen will then hold the line and the ship will be slowed 10 feet for every such
I
grappling.
think they're talking about those small shipping, fishing,
I would hope so.
like
But I
those.
don't know, like if they have, if there's 100 mermen out there and they've got 10 of these hooks,
I don't
that's gonna
know.
be
I mean, that's a
it's gonna be
pretty
slowed
that
100 feet,
a
man.
hundred a hundred mermen who are not exceptionally strong. Now, if you told me that they are known to commune with whales and stuff or dolphins, I'd be like, okay, well, I guess that ship's gone.
Right?
So,
Grappling hooks can be thrown up to 30 feet. If grappling hooks are loosened or cut, the mermen pulling on the line are not able to attack during the next melee round. A motionless ship will be held by the mermen. Geez, I keep saying mermaid. In 4 to 16 melee rounds, the ship will lean, slowly sink, and eventually be looted by the victors. Man, such an attempt, the attacking mermen are exposed to missile fire from the vessels, and if flame is used upon them, the mermen take double damage. And mermen speak their own language, and a 50% chance to also speak Lokatha, which is the fish, like
yeah,
Murlocs, I guess.
yeah, we heard about that one. So,
Right?
before we move on, and we also have time, Dallas. So get ready for some stories, baby. Here we go, people. Um, so the merman there with that description about putting the hooks and looting, for treasure. Why wouldn't they just have like they said they have tridents, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you just start punching holes in the ship?
Well, I mean, those hulls are pretty. they're pretty hefty, dude. Little
Mm,
try you don't have the strength to punch through a big wooden plank on a
no,
ship.
that's more believable if, like, 10 of them just started working on an area
Well,
to.
I mean, it would slow them down because remember these guys they're like mermaids, but they have fins, so that power against them. I mean, it's easier to tie ropes to a car and slow it down than it would be to try and punch through the metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the ships aren't metal. That's all I'm saying. I would be
But
creative
yeah,
as
but
that as a
they're
DM.
more stronger than that. I mean, you could punch through a car faster than you could a ship. I mean,
What? Get the hell out of here.
you shoot a bullet at a car, it's gonna go through the metal.
That's a
Shoot it.
bullet.
Well, yeah,
We're not shooting bullets. We're talking about just taking a trident and
which has way less power.
just start chipping away at wood that's in
Uh,
water, right? So it's not going
yeah,
to be
but
as
you're talking
strong as
about
it
wood
would be
planks
on
that are
land.
several inches thick. They've been treated. They've been hardened.
Oh no, I feel like we're having a Mr. Wizards moment with science, and neither of us know what we're talking about. So
Right?
let's
Who's
move
worse than
on.
either one of us was on a ship?
Yep, let's move on to the mimic.
Oh shit! The mimic, my most favoriteest of all monsters. Mimics are subterranean creatures which cannot stand the light of the sun. They are able to perfectly mimic stone or wood. There are two varieties of this creature: the large, semi intelligent, carnivorous killer mimic, and a slightly smaller, intelligent sort. While the former will attack anything which is nearby, the latter are generally friendly and if offered are generally friendly if offered food. What? Friendly mimics?
Since
All
when?
mimics, right? All mimics move about constantly in search of prey. Now, man, friendly mimics, that gives me an idea. Mimics pose as stonework, door, chests, or any other substance or item they can imitate. When a creature touches the mimic, the latter lashes out with a pseudopod.
Hello. Man, did I lose you again?
Speak, but the other breeds have their own language and can usually speak several other tongues such as Common, Orcish, etc. For consideration, they will usually tell a party about what they have seen nearby. Really? These mimics are a lot more friendly than I recall.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Um. So look at the picture. I always thought that
Yeah.
was funny. That dude's about to get knocked out, man. He
Right?
caught it
Yeah,
with
that big old fist. He's looking at it, he's like,
he's got
man.
his chin up. Get
Oh,
knocked out.
like Glass Joe. He's about to get knocked out.
So, the other ones just show, which I like better, where they just have this big mouth that opens up and they're trying to eat you.
Yeah, yeah.
But they do uh 3 to 12 damage, and that special attack of glue, like they
Yeah, they
grab
don't go
onto
too
you,
much
man.
into that. Yeah. They
That's
don't go too much into that. They just say it holds fast. Like, you don't know if there's a save for strength or what,
Yep. All of a sudden you get punched in the face.
right? These mimics are dope, dude. My party is so like if there's a chest, they're like, what? They are super wary of them. Like I've heard like, and I've thought about doing it too. Like DMs, you making whole villages out of mimics, like building. Yeah, it's
Oh,
just like a
really?
big mimic community, dude. Then they just feast on shit. That
And
would
they're
be
like,
amazing.
every chest they encounter, it's like I get an oil flask. Why?
Every like a
Don't worry
building is
about
a
it.
mimic. Yeah,
And then they
a
light each
building,
chest on
stacks,
fire.
doors can be a mimic.
Yeah, floors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well,
oh,
not a big
explore.
part, but a little part of the floor can be. It'd be funny to,
Right?
you know,
Yeah,
you,
mimics are great, man.
dude. You know how funny it would be, like if your party gets captured, and the villain's like, you can be set free if you can walk across this room safely, and you don't have any of your gear. And all these
Right?
mimics are attacking you. You're like, what the
Dude,
hell,
I've
dude?
had mimics, like, I've used a mimic, a rug of smothering, and like flying swords all in the same room.
Oh, that's brutal, dude.
So, yeah, they're like, open the chest, it's a mimic, the rug wraps around you, the sword flies off the wall and starts attacking you.
Yeah, everybody gets hit.
That's that one where Thurman got surrounded by a rug of smothering, and they just said fuck it and put the lit the rug on fire while Thurman was inside of it. He's taking smoke inhalation damage. They're beating it out of him. He's trying to roll on the ground. It was glorious.
I bet you that
That was
was. All
fun.
right, mind flayers.
Right. Ooh, another one that I've used against the party before. Here we go. Player's physical attack is by striking a victim with its four tentacles. If a tentacle hits, it will reach the opponent's brain in 1 to 4 melee rounds and draw it forth, immediately killing the creature. So it just sucks your brain out with this stupid thing. Mind Flayer then devours the brain. Its more feared attack mode, however, is the Mind Blast psionic power. All within 60 feet directional cone, all within a 60-foot directional cone. Five was that 5 foot diameter at the point of emanation and 20-foot diameter at extreme range are effective. These, like I said, these measurings are crazy. Mind players have the following psionic abilities: levitation, domination, ESPN,
Yeah, now ESPN, crazy.
right? ESP, body equilibrium, astral projection, probability travel. They perform at 7th level mastery. Oh my god.
But you don't know what these are until
Yeah,
you get the
yeah,
player's
we have no
handbook.
idea what they do until for like another year. If an encounter is going against the mind flayer, it will immediately flee, seeking to save itself regardless of its fellows or its treasure. It's like, fuck it, I'm out. Deuces. These monsters speak only their own arcane language and several other weird tongues, purportedly those of terrible races of things which dwell in regions of the subterranean world far deeper than mankind has ever ventured. It is also rumored that these monsters have a city somewhere deep beneath the earth. That would be an amazing set, dude. I've always wanted to do like an Underdark campaign and just have like drow and mind flayers and just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Duro and the what are
Yep, the Spurf
the
Neblin,
evil dwarves?
Duergar,
Yeah, the
Spurf
Dulgar.
Neblin, drow, funguses galore.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can underground.
Yep. We got the description left. The mind flayer's skin glistens with slime. Its skin color is a nauseous mauve, its tentacles being purplish black. Mind Flayer's eyes are dead white, no pupil being evident. 3 long fingers on each of the hand are reddish, but the hands are mauve. And then you have the little comic at the bottom. Guy's like, yeah, I'm going to get you. Look, he looks like he's attacking Europe with that map on the wall or something.
Doing something like so. The mind flayers. You hear me right now? I'm so self
Yeah, you're
conscious.
good.
Like, damn, do I gotta go buy just a mic?
Right?
Like, so the mind flayers. I want to say, as early as first edition, they were dropping hints that the mind flayers were not of Orith, which is the original Dungeons and
Correct.
Dragons Earth. I mean, Earth setting, and I remember hearing something like that way
Yeah,
back in the
they were from outer
days.
space.
So, and then later on, they did come and say, look, these are creatures um, from space, and Spelljammers really
Yeah.
expanded
The
on that
astral plane.
idea, but
Yep.
they also introduced them in. I want to say they were in D1 too. Like a lot of things were in D1.
Yeah,
You got
they just threw a bunch of shit
liches, you got a
together.
mind flayer, or maybe
Yeah.
the mind flayer was D3. But either way, in that D series, they covered a lot of unique monsters at the time, and they were
Mhm.
showing DMs like these are what you can do with these creatures.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, these are what these creatures are used for.
Yeah. So for those of you who have had the privilege, and I say the privilege of playing S3 Expedition to Barrier's Peak,
Oh man.
there is a mind flayer in there. And it is a very deadly encounter. Have you ever got a chance to play?
No, I have not. See, like, because a lot of these old modules I didn't really play because, like I said, my guys were all homebrew. But my DMs always made up their own stuff. We usually didn't do modules. But it's funny you say that because there's not to be spoiler alert. 40 years later, there's you can find like a laser gun in there in one of the encounters,
Oh yeah, there's
and
all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of like
Lance wants
futuristic
that stupid
weapons.
thing for his character. Yeah, Lance wants that thing for his character so bad. So, am I gonna get my laser gun? Am I gonna? I said, we're not going to the Barrier Peaks. This is the homebrew. We're not going in there.
Homebrew.
Yeah, this is a homebrew. We're not going there. He wants his for his Goliath barbarian. He wants a laser pistol.
Yeah, so um I can't do with this current group, or at least with Michael and Greg. I can't do
Uh,
Temple, but I want to figure out a way that, me, you, and whoever else you want to invite play
dude,
Temple of
Dave,
Evil.
dude, I am so down. If you ever get another group, dude,
Yeah.
I
Uh,
am
uh,
so because I want to play that thing. I don't. I have never played it start to finish. Like
yeah.
I played it like the temple up to the temple part,
Yep.
but the nodes and everything, I have not done any of that. And
Yeah.
I played temple over 30 years ago.
Yeah. No,
So
it's
I
it's
don't
it's a cool adventure, man.
yeah, and I love that they have it for 5th edition. Like I keep meaning to buy it, but that's a pretty hefty drop, especially since I'm not going to be using it with this group that I have.
Yeah.
So, because they've all been through it. But yeah, the 5th edition, it looks dope, dude.
Yeah. So the Mind Flayers are these groups that have their own agenda.
Yeah.
They are power
Really,
hungry.
really
They
cool to
they
build a
seek to
campaign around.
dominate an area that
Yeah.
they're in, and the Drows are always fighting with them.
Oh yeah.
They don't those two
Yeah,
don't get
they want
along.
that Underdark supremacy.
Yep. All right, next
Yep.
up,
All right, we got the Minotaur. More Greek
Minotaur.
mythology.
Yep, the Minotaur, Mold, and the Morkoth, and another Greek myth come to life with the Minotaur and Mold, a good way to harass your party, and
Yeah,
Morkoth.
mold.
It does
Yep.
what? When we get to that description and Eric reads it,
Man,
it's gonna be crazy.
I
So
totally forgot about this thing.
again, Greek mythology, the birth of the Minotaur. Who is it? King Midas would
Yeah.
throw people. Who did he throw in there? He threw a hero in there.
It wasn't Hercules, was it?
No, I don't
Heracles?
think so. And I don't think it was Perseus either.
Yeah, I don't know who was thrown in. My Greek mythology is a little rusty.
Yeah, or Odysseus. What? One of them, but somebody gets
Odysseus?
what?
Odysseus?
Odysseus? It might have been him, but
It might have been.
A Greek hero gets thrown into a King Midas's maze. There's a Minotaur who's stalking him, and that story has carried on through the generations. And of course, D&D was going to grab it. And if you watched our earlier video, I'm telling you, you got to watch the letter L, people. Um, we mentioned that the only reason why you don't have a were bull because the Minotaur was already invented.
Right? No
And
wereabouts.
find out some other fun facts. All right. So, what does the Monster Manual say about the Minotaur?
All right, now this is interesting. Minotaurs are typically found only in labyrinthian places in the wilderness or underground. That's it. You don't find them strolling through a forest. None of that stuff. They're in labyrinthian places, caves, and massive tunnel systems and forests, stuff like that. They are cruel man eaters, and although not particularly intelligent, they're cunning and have excellent senses. They're able to track prey by scent with a 50% accuracy, and they will always pursue if it is in sight. They attack anything without fear unless it is obviously beyond their ability to defeat. In combat, the Minotaur can butt an opponent of 6 feet or more in height or a bit shorter one. The former attack doing 2 to 8, the latter d4 points of damage. The creature also uses some form of weapon, usually a huge axe or flail. Minotaurs have their own language and are 25% likely to speak common as well. Short and to the point, like I said, they are a cool, diverse. They're player characters now, which is really cool.
Really? I would not allow that as a DM. Give a damn.
Why? Minotaurs are dope, dude. I had a Minotaur paladin.
I don't know, dude.
He,
I don't know about the
yeah,
Minotaur. Maybe in my homebrew where you guys would start off in
well,
the
it was
southern
cool because
part.
they have that Theros book, which is basically all Mediterranean Greek mythology, which I love. I would love to do a campaign set in that. But that's where you have the centaurs, the satyrs,
Oh, they give
the
the stats for playing a Minotaur.
oh yeah, they're in the new Mordenkainen's too.
Oh, really? Hmm. They just seem
Yeah, they're
it just
dope.
seems really OP to make somebody a Minotaur. But
No, no, it's not as bad as you. They tone it down a lot.
well, that makes sense.
There's it's a very strength constitution. I mean, this guy's a fighter. He's not running around picking traps. He's not, you know.
Yeah.
Although unarmed combat would be interesting as a Minotaur monk.
Well, that could be cool.
I'll mess you up with my horns, son.
So
Right.
wait a minute before we go
Anything
to
else?
mold. So another fun fact about the Minotaur: the Minotaur makes its first appearance in
In
B2, Deep on the Borderland.
yep.
That's why I love that adventure. There's so many fun creatures to kill your players with. I mean, to throw at your players. Fun encounters.
Man.
All right.
Right. Getting on
Speaking
to
of
the
a fun
mold.
encounter, read the mold.
Mold. Starting with the brown mold. Brown mold grows anywhere beneath the surface of the ground. It is light tan to golden brown in color. It cannot stand high concentrations of ultraviolet light. It feeds on radiant energy of most other sorts. Where a patch of brown mold grows, the temperature will be below average. If a creature walks within 5 feet of the patch, the mold will begin absorbing its body heat. Ooh. Even from a basically cold blooded creature. Wow. Each melee round that a creature is within 5 feet of a brown mold, the mold will drain heat equal to 1 to 8 points of frost damage for every 10 degrees of body heat over 55 degrees the creature has. What? That makes zero sense. Like they just threw that out nowhere.
Yeah.
Worse still, this mold grows instantaneously from heat. So if a torch, flaming oil, or fireball is near the patch, it will be able to grow 2, 4, or 8 times its area from the heat fed to it. This growth will be so rapid that on the next melee round, it will have spread and be draining any further heat in its new area of growth. Ground mold is not fed by light spells or fairy fire. It is affected only by magical cold and no other magical or non-magical means. So no weapons. Ice storms or walls of ice cause it to go dormant for 5 to 30 turns. A cold wand or white dragon breath will kill it. The growth does not harm creatures which use cold, white dragons, ice toads, or winter wolves. Yellow mold. A more common underground fungus is yellow mold, which is pale yellow to a golden orange in color. Any creature which touches this mold is attacked by its enzymes. It also affects wood, albeit more slowly. It does not harm metals, or it does no harm to metals or stone. If the substance is contacted roughly, there's a 50% chance per contact that the colony will release spores. Uh-oh. These deadly spores shoot out in an asphyxiating cloud. Gotta say that really fast. 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot, originating from the center of impact. Any creature which is within this cloud will die. What? Whoa. Wait, let me read that again. These deadly spores shoot out an asphyxiating cloud 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot, originating from the center of impact. Any creature which is within this cloud will die. Its lungs filled with yellow mold growth unless it makes a saving throw versus poison. What? A cure disease and a resurrection spell are necessary within 24 hours to save such victims. Man, yellow mold is affected only by fire-based attacks, flaming oil, fire elemental, etc. Continual light will cause it to become dormant for 2 to 12 turns, but thereafter the mold will grow over the light and obliterate it. When formed into great colonies of at least 300 square feet in area, this growth will form a collective intelligence about 1 time in 6. If this should happen, the yellow mold will actually be mentally aware and psionically. It will attack by spore cloud if it senses the presence of other life forms. Range of sensing will vary from 10 to 60 feet, or psionically if such abilities are used within 20 to 120 feet.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. Random determination of sensing range. If it attacks psionically, it will await the approach of the life form and then loose an attack which is equal to the most powerful form of id insinuation. What? It cannot be counterattacked psionically unless a cleric who has the power to telepathically communicate with plants is on hand, for he will be needed to channel such attacks into a form which will affect the vegetable intelligence of the mold colony. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Why
This
can't
is
it also
nuts,
be a druid?
right? This is nuts. Otherwise, the yellow mold must be physically attacked and destroyed. The colony has sufficient power to make from 1 to 10 psionic attacks within as many turns, and after resting for 1 to 4 days, will thereafter be able to attack again in this manner. That is nuts, dude.
Yeah, they really did tone it down.
Yeah, you think?
um, yellow
Oh my god.
mold is really deadly. I mean, the brown mold's a pain in the ass, but yellow mold is deadly. And the reason
Yeah, if
why
you get rid of
is
the
that,
intelligent colonies.
well, no, it's not, forget about all that intelligence. Yellow mold likes to hide in like skeleton remains of a person who's
Mhm.
died. So you go, well, I search that and, I detect magic. It'll be like, well, his
You
boots or
didn't see
whatever
one.
is radiating magic. So I go and I search it. Well, when you search for the yellow mold, and now you got to roll a die,
Yep.
and so on,
And die.
and you die.
Man.
All right. Speaking of dying, all right.
Right?
I've been hyping up
Good.
this creature.
Let's see what the Morkoth is all about. The Morkoth, or Morlock, is a dim, shadowy monster often referred to as the Wraith of the Deep. It is possibly humanoid, but reports vary. It inhabits dark, deep waters. The lair of a Morkoth is a series of spiraling tunnels, and at the nexus of these passages lurks the Morkoth. Any creature passing over one of these tunnels is drawn towards it hypnotically, for the tunnels form a pattern which is hypnotic. The victim is within the passages. He approaches the Morkoth without realizing it and will be charmed by a spell from the monster unless a saving throw is made at -4. The charmed victim will then be devoured by at the Morkoth's leisure. The tunnels of a Morkoth are constructed so as to prevent large creatures from entering. There are typically 6 tunnels in a lair. Note that should any victim come closer than 60 feet, the hypnotic effect is broken. Really? So if you get within the 60 feet, the hypnotic effect is broken. So it wants to get you at range. But man, you get charmed and then he eats you.
Yep.
Uh, well, I guess that's because charmed, you're only charmed if you don't attack. If he starts to eat you, that's considered an attack.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Reading.
The Morkoth. Oh, we're not done.
Oh,
The Morkoth attacks by biting. A charmed creature will suffer this attack without knowledge and thus enable the monster to consume it. Fucking sneaky gits, dude. Rules to break rules. This is like a GW game.
yep.
Spell attacks of any sort are reflected by the Morkoth, affecting the caster and possibly affecting others nearby also. If the spell is one with an area effect. So it's got like instant counter spell.
Yeah.
However, if a dispel magic is cast simultaneously, the Morkoth will be unable to reflect the spell, and there's a 50% chance that the magic will affect a creature, although even the Morkoth, jeez, although even then the Morkoth is allowed a saving throw.
Yeah.
Man, that is
So
some
you're like
nonsense.
this. You're like your first level character or whatever. Not you wouldn't throw as a first level character. It's got 7 hit dice, but
Better not.
you're like, I shoot magic missile at it. I never miss. You're right. And they
You eat
go and then
yourself.
come back and make a U-turn and hit you. What?
Oh, that's gnarly.
It
Oh, I
says it
cast a
reflects it
fireball on
back,
him,
man. I know. You just centered it
right?
on yourself.
Oh my god.
That's what I was like when I was telling you earlier about this. I was like, I don't even want to talk about it. I want to get your
Right?
reaction once you read it. This
Woo, that
creature
is
is
gnarly.
crazy.
That charmed that he eats you and you don't even know it. You're like, oh,
Man,
thank you,
I almost rather
brother.
run into the yellow mold because at least the party has a chance to figure out what's going
Right?
on.
This guy is just like, I'm gonna eat you.
Yep. Like, dang, what the hell? All right, my phone was
Stupid war
beeping. I was
cops. I'm
like,
not going in the water, man.
my phone beeped, and I thought it was you saying. You couldn't hear me. I was like, no, I'm
No,
talking about the more cop.
man.
All right, now we got to move on.
War
Unfortunately,
cop does what it wants.
Mummy and the Mule. Why are
Mummy and
there
the
no
mule.
mummy mules? I want to know. We are going to talk about that for a
They
second
didn't have
before we
mules
read
in
on.
Egypt.
And the mummies should see more play. They have a great backstory,
I love mummies, dude.
which we will
Mummies are
be
dope.
talking about at the very end because it's one of our wrap up, which is coming up after this.
Mhm.
So, first, let's just ask this question: why are there no mummy meat? All right, why couldn't somebody have stuffed a mummy, brought it
No,
back to life, and
no.
now you have to deal with the mummy meat? Because that would shock the hell out of the players. I'll tell you that.
A
Because
mummy mule.
and after you read the description of the mule, you're gonna see why a mummy mule it could be deadly once we read about the mummy. So let's give the mule its one and only due in the monster manual. Here we go.
All right. Mules are generally sterile hybrids between horses and donkeys. They're strong and agile, thus able to negotiate dungeons well in most cases. I'm bringing a mule in our next dungeon. Mules can be very stubborn and uncooperative at times, and they are likely to bite or kick their own handler if in a contrary mood. They are not panicked by fire, but strange smells may cause them to bolt away or to begin braying loudly. Mules can carry up to 2,000 gold pieces in weight at normal speed and 6,000 at half speed.
Go. Yeah, and they attack for you too. Look, one or two attacks.
Yeah, they were like,
Okay.
eh.
Then my
All
mule to
right,
attack the goblins,
I'm
or
bringing a
Eric's
mule into
favorite, the
the dungeon.
kobolds.
Fucking kobolds.
All right, the
Damn
mummy.
kobolds. All right, last but not least, a wonderful monster, the mummy. Mummies are undead humans with existence on both the normal and the positive material planes. They are found near their tomb or in like burial places or ruins. They retain a semblance of life due to their evil, and they seek to destroy any living thing they encounter. Their unholy hatred of life and their weird unlife state gives them tremendous power, so that a blow from their arms smashes opponents for D12 hit points of damage. The scabrous touch of a mummy inflicts a rotting disease on any hit. The
Hmm.
disease will be fatal in 1 to 6 months. That's Carnarvon. And each month it progresses, the diseased creature loses 2 points of charisma permanently. It can be cured only by a magic spell, cure disease. The disease negates all cure wounds spells. Holy shit. Infected creatures heal wounds at 10% in the normal rate. The mere sight of a mummy within 60 feet will cause fear and revulsion in any creature that, unless a saving throw versus magic is successful, the victim will be paralyzed with fright for D4 melee rounds. Note that numbers will give courage, and for each creature above 6 to 1 mummy, the creatures add +1 to their saving throw. That's an interesting effect. I've never heard of that before.
Yep.
If humans confront a mummy, each will save at +2 on this dice. So, like, F you, mummy. Mummies can be harmed only by magical weapons, and even those do only one half normal damage, dropping all fractions. Sleep, charm, hold, and cold based spells have no effect upon them. Poison or paralysis do not harm them. A raised dead spell will turn the creature into a normal human. What? Unless the mummy saves versus magic. Mummies will suffer certain damage from fire, even flame of normal sort. A blow with a torch will cause D3 points of damage. A flask of burning oil will cause D8 points of damage. On the first round, it covers the mummy, and twice that amount on the second melee round. Magical fires are at +1 per die of damage. Holy water is splashed upon them. They suffer 2 to 8 points of damage for every full vial that strikes. Any creature killed by a mummy rots and cannot be raised from death unless a cure disease and a raise dead spell are used within 6 turns. Within 6 turns. So you got 6 minutes
Yep.
after this mummy kills you.
Now, I don't think there's any rule that states that the mummy has to be performed, mummification has to be performed on a human. So now,
No,
you guys are
no.
laughing at the mule, my mummy mule. But if you look at the stats, the mummy only gets one attack to mess you up. The mummy mule gets two.
No, because if you make it a mummy, then it would have the stats of a mummy.
No, what's the stats of the mule?
Why?
Because I'm the DM, that's why.
Ah, now I'll just ride away on my Chiron mount. Take that. Ride away into the sunset.
Oh, oh my god, I feel so bad for that party that I
Here's my
shamed.
mule.
Anyways, I don't want to talk
Dang.
about that because you just need to watch episode 11,
Yeah,
and
shame.
you'll understand that joke. All right, so I'm gonna figure out a way to slip in the mummy meal on you guys. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
love
how,
mummies. Mummy lords, man.
but
They
it
got
will
their
make sense
effect.
somewhere in the campaign. Okay,
Nice.
so you see the next creature up is the Naga, the Guardians. Is why I
Hmm.
chose this picture. So we are now at the wrap up. Let's check the time. Oh my god. We're at an hour and 11 minutes. We went from
I told you.
35. Oh.
I know. I told you.
Oh my god. Well, hey, we did give warning this is going to be a long video anyways. And
Yeah.
because there were a lot of cool and interesting creatures to talk about, man. It was like,
Yeah. M had some good ones, man.
yeah, they really did. So the next video, part 12, is going to be the letters N and O, and the Morkoth can be a deadly encounter for players that like to split the party. How many
Yeah.
times have
Never
you been
split
as
the
a
party.
DM or been in a group where one person wants to go off and do his own thing? Well, if you have that, this is the perfect encounter to teach that player a lesson.
No.
Yes, it is. It's a
Never split the party.
but it's still a cool encounter. You can make this really deadly if you get creative.
Yeah.
Mermen have become the merfolks in 5th edition. Uh, if you're looking for some variations, like we talked about when we talked about in the men, if you're looking for some charts to help you really flesh out your groups of men, like berserkers and nomads, and or to develop cavemen and stuff like that, look at the 1st edition monster manual. There are free PDFs all over the place, people.
Yeah.
And then lastly, is the mummies are good for a low level campaign. And so I told Eric when we get to the mummy that we're not really going to talk too much about it because it's part of the wrap up. And the reason why is think about it. The mummy usually is an important character that gets mummified. So
Hmm.
you're going to learn the lore about some person who has died. There is rumor that
Hmm.
he was buried in some tomb. And somewhere along the adventure, you're going to find a map to that tomb.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
as a new DM, it gives you a chance to flesh out your world more, add in an
Hmm.
interesting person who belonged to a group of people or whatever, gives you a chance to
Hmm.
flesh that out, add more lore, history, different locations. And by the time they hit 3rd level, fighting a single mummy will be even a 5th edition will be a deadly encounter.
Yeah.
Once they
Yeah.
get
Even
beyond 4th and 5th, a group of
I
4 or
don't know, man.
5.
How many? You think about it. I mean, look at groups today. Nobody wants to run a cleric. You
Yeah,
need that cure disease, man. You don't have cure disease, you're screwed.
yeah, because yeah, nobody really. Most people do not like running clerics, and I'm like,
I don't mind it, but I tend to be like even the last couple groups that we really didn't have a healer.
yeah,
So
I try
it's
to tell new people that look, you're just a fighting healer, is what you are.
hmm.
You have utilities, and you can just build yourself to fight.
Yeah.
You're a tank. You're going to take some damage, and
Hmm.
you're going to have high AC. and you're going to be able to do the most important part to a party, which is heal them.
Yep.
Because as higher level as you get, you're gonna run out of potions and things. So you should always have a cleric. And if nobody wants to play a cleric, then you better go find an NPC and
Well, they did.
pay them to come with you. You know,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm looking at the Mummy in Fifth Edition. They toned it down. Challenge level 3.
yeah.
So by the time they hit third level, right? Um, that's when you have them find the lair, go through, fight off whatever other little minor undead and other things, and
Mhm.
then they get some cool treasure and they get to learn lore about your campaign.
Yeah, like, and even, do they still have let me see, because I didn't check Rotting Fist.
Well, they give a different version of it, and
Okay,
then in the
yeah, they do.
original
They toned it
monster
down a
manual.
lot.
Yeah, they did. They had to if they were going to keep it at CR3. Um, the only place that you're going to find really good mummy adventures is Ravenloft,
Yeah.
and that's when they
Unless
really,
you make them your own.
yeah, they did a really good job of doing that. So those are there are a few modules that you can look at, and they're free PDFs, all first and second edition. If you dig hard enough, you'll find it, and those are good
Mhm.
starts. So,
Nice.
real quick, besides the mimic, what other monster did you enjoy reading about here for the letter M?
Oh, well, the Masher, the Molds, and the Morkoth were pretty like, I had forgotten, the Molds have gotten way more tame. So that was a surprise, especially the yellow mold.
Yeah,
The Morkoth was completely forgotten.
well, for good
So, and
reasons.
the Masher and the Morkoth I completely forgot about. But that Morkoth can be nasty, dude.
That can be.
But
Re-
yeah, I mean, the M's, like you said, there was a lot of time. I love Mind Flayers. Mind Flayers are a really cool, like, high end villain, end game villain. Maybe more like mid level.
for
Yeah,
me,
gives.
oh, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I've always loved the mana core.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I like Medusa. I like, in general, I like the majority of the monster manuals, because as a DM, you get to flip through this book and,
Yeah.
pick out stuff to make an adventure of. And, hopefully your player characters will enjoy your choices. But, um, you'll hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw a flicker and I was like, oh God, what's going on?
Yeah. It was flickering a little bit, but so far so good.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up here. But, I like using mana cores to harass the players. And
Uh,
Greg and Michael, they were on a boat with the old group, and they had horses. So I had the mana cores just come in and eat their horses and leave, grab them and
eat
leave.
the
They were all
horses.
pissed because they couldn't really fight them. Like they could do some damage on them, but then they would fly away and they were trying to shoot them and all this stuff. And they got pissed off because they're like, "Why are you doing encounters when we can't get XP?" I was like, "Because it's
And then you
fun."
have a
That's
more well rounded party.
yeah, because it's fun. That's why. All right,
Yeah.
so we're at a minute, almost to 20. So I know Eric's gonna hear it. So sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
So with that, people, I hope you enjoyed this video, and the next one should be a lot shorter. It's only like 6 pages of material that Eric's gonna be
it's
reading.
not too bad.
Yep. So final thoughts, Eric?
Um, Not really. I'm really liking the Mummy. Like, I want to go read some more on the Mummy. Read one of them old Ravenloft, the old books from the '90s, the guides, the Van Richten guides.
Yeah, no.
You
That's
know?
oh, real quick. I saved it to the end. I should have put it more in the middle, so if you didn't go to the end to look for this. So what does the Minotaur, the Mimic, and the Mind Flayer all have in common? They're all the
Uh,
letter M of this video.
oh, you're dumb.
Clickbait.
Oh, you're punished.
Hey, we gotta do something. But I
I don't,
shouldn't have to use clickbait, but gotta grab
oh
in
my
new
goodness.
people, dude. So I hope you're entertained. But really, what all three of those have in common is if your characters meet any one of those three creatures, Mimic at the early stage, Minotaur at the early stage, and then mid-level, the Mind Flayer, the odds
Uh,
are one of your player characters will die. That's what they all have in common. That's how deadly those three encounters
yeah,
are.
yeah, I see that.
All right, with that, people, catch you later.
All right, guys, take it easy.